Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Global Reality Radio Network.
September 19th, 2011 marks 4 years of broadcasting for the Global Reality Show. In that time, we've exposed many important and invaluable pieces of information concerning the global power structure, hidden and occult text, ancient archaeology, secret societies, ETs, the priest class, and so much more. With no outside funding, sponsors, or advertisement, this places all the well-being of our work and research into the hands of people like you. In order to continue our work and to make it bigger and better, the Global Reality is having a 4-year anniversary fundraiser to take our quest of information critical mass to a new and before unseen level. Unfortunately, technology becomes aged and not much is left after paying operating costs each month. This is a very critical time to reach people, and with your financial support, we can redouble our efforts. Please visit www.theglobalreality.com today and make a safe and secure donation using our chip and banner or PayPal donate button at the site. Why give your support to a phony political stooge when you can support real underground media by the people? I'm Josh Reeves, and this is the Global Reality Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It is now Friday, Thursday night into Friday morning, September 29th into the 30th of 2011. And we're live here with you tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the Global Reality. Yes, indeed, I am your host, Josh Reeves, and thank you so much for being with us tonight. Got some news stories to get into tonight we didn't get into last night. We're going to be getting into, and a few more from today. We're also going to continue in our newest series of reading. Our newest series, we like to do different series. I did some of these readings a few years ago and didn't do some for a while. And Nick, Black Sheep Radio, one of our listeners and supporters, and the guy who's booked some guests for us before and stuff. It's a real help and support of my work. He suggests I read William Bramley, The Gods of Eden, and it sort of became I really enjoy doing this. I love that element of the show. I like the fact that we're getting a lot more listener response from emails, a lot of great informative emails and stuff that really gets me on to other questions. Please, I encourage it more. If you've got stuff you want to hear me talk about, you want to get my take on or whatever. And look, you're probably not always going to like my answer on things, but I'm gonna give it to you as honest and as informed of an answer as I can with the ability and information that I currently have. That's the truth. I don't know what else I can do. So, but I do want to encourage that. And again, you're not always going to, the fact of the matter is when somebody's shooting you straight, you're not always going to like what they're telling you. And, don't hold that against me, if I'm brutally honest or blunt with you about something, but that's just a part of my passion, especially when it comes to this stuff. But globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. If you've got any of those that you want to send in here tonight for the broadcast, please do so and send them in, and I'll read them on the air. I don't know. We might have a few tonight. I'm not really for sure. I hadn't really looked at the mail yet tonight. My website where this broadcast originates from is www.theglobalreality.com. It's www.theglobalreality.com. Up there at theglobalreality.com, we have the Chipping Banner for the month. This is our week. We have the fundraiser going on for the month of September for our 4-year anniversary. I want to thank everybody who we didn't meet our goal. I don't foresee that we will, but maybe we'll get some help in other places. But I want to thank everybody who did support us and has supported us in the 4 years who've been on there this month. Thank you so much to everybody out there who continues to do so. This week, again, is we have to pay the bills by Saturday. It's the first, so the top shipping banners there. And somebody wanted me to leave the other one up just for shits and giggles since it doesn't run out to the first, so we're doing that as well. So theglobalreality.com. Please help us meet that goal by Saturday so we can pay the bills. We actually just did get a donation here tonight. Well, just right before the show started, actually. Yeah, here we go, from Australia. So $100 from the great down there. So that means we're only 500 away from having our goal done. Well, thank you very much, mate, down there in the land down under Australia. That's awesome. And so, yeah, we get, 5 more donations like that. We're going to be good to go. Please go to the website and help us out if you can there. Let me see what we got tonight. Let's see what we've got in the mail bag here. I know we've got some that came in since last night. This is from Sean. He says, "Hi, Josh. I'm currently in college at a school in Oklahoma. In one of my classes there's an older gentleman that sits one seat away from me. A couple of days ago, I noticed that he had a big gold ring. On top of the ring was some type of semi-precious blue stone with the Freemason compass on top of it. He also had another gold ring on his other hand, but I couldn't tell what was on it. It just so happened that the same day we were taking a test with 33 questions. I was wondering if you knew any secret handshakes or if there's anything I could say to the guy to trip him out. Thanks." Oh, I got plenty, man. I love that though. That's one of my favorite emails ever, right there. Somebody just wants to know how they can trip out of. Josh, can you tell me anything I might say to a Freemason to make him flip the fuck out? Yeah, dude, I can tell you a lot of shit. Get a pen. I'll give you a minute. You got it? Go get a pen, get a piece of paper. Here, write this. Well, first off, I would have started out by asking him, "Hey, so I noticed your ring there." Because most they're cool about it. If I've never had a Freemason that was not approachable. I go up and talk to them all the time, dude. It's funny as shit. You can go up and flash them. You can go if you know the hand signs and stuff. You can go up and they'll it's like gang signs. But I would have just rolled up on them and like, "Hey, I noticed your ring there. Are you a Freemason? Yeah. What'd you think about that test? 33 questions, eh? But that was right up your alley, huh? Ask him some shit like, what time is it? No, not what time is it on your watch, man. What time is it?" And then he'll say something like, "There is no time, blah, 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 whatever." I don't know. Try not to bend the spoon with your mind. We'll let the spoon bend itself, some shit like that, probably. Do I know any of the... I don't really know. I know what the handshakes look like. I don't really know how to perform them all that much. I've never really tried, although I did have a Freemason, a high-level Freemason, when I went and visited the world's largest Masonic cathedral up in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And, the whole time, I've talked about it before, the whole time I was in there, I was just, somebody asked what some symbol meant, and I'd be like, "Well, yeah, it does mean Yahweh, but actually that's a tetragrammaton." And the guy would be like, "Yeah, he's exactly right." "Okay, I'm exactly right. I gotta give you in and say it, you prick." But he asked me 2 or 3 times, "Are you sure you're not a brother? You're not a member?" "No, I'm just a researcher." And I asked him, I was like, "Well, you guys are Masons. You guys got to have the blueprints of this place." You know, I'd love to see the blueprints of this place. And he's like, oh, really? Yeah, they're in the basement. That's not on the tour. Let's follow me. And I was like, what? Yeah, shit, you know, I took me and my sister down to this basement, the fucking dungeon, dude. It was the shit. There was all these Masonic swords going back 100 years and all this dishware. There was a suit in there that had an ephod on it, you know, communication chest plate thing. And we started freaking out on that. And he was like, come on, come on, come on. He was like ushering us, dude. I'm not shit you not. He was like trying to get us out of there quick as soon as we noticed that, you know, there's an ephod in a glass case. It was the real deal. Like, holy shit, look at that. And as soon as we zeroed in on that, he was like, you know, let's go out here. But we were leaving, and he asked me a few times, you know, if I was a member and all this stuff. I was like, no, I don't. I'm not a member. I just, you know, I've studied this stuff extensively because I was trying to find out if it was really true that you guys were, you know, into the Dark Lord and into Satan and all this stuff. And when I found out that you're actually not, I wasn't interested in joining anymore. And he started laughing. That's how I presented it to him, you know. I was like, no, you know, I heard you guys are devil worshippers and into Satan. And I found out that's not true. And when I found out you're not into Satan, I'm like, I'm not joining them. That sounds like church or something. No, of course I was kidding. But, you know, but when I was leaving, he shook my hand and he put a fucking grip on me, dude. I shit you not. And I was kind of taken aback by it. He put like the brother grip on me, and I shit you not, this is absolutely 100% the truth. I didn't know this up until the time, but it's one of those things until it happens to you, you don't know what they are. People often speculate what these handshakes and hand signs and symbols are. And from what I can tell is the way that your hands, it has to do with mathematics, sacred mathematics. Geometry, think Da Vinci, think the Vitruvian Man, think Fibonacci numbers. Essentially, these grips, when your hand interacts with another human hand and comes together in a union, the mathematics of where your finger positions are, where it is in relation to the other person's hand, it creates this electrical bond between your biochemical processes and their biochemical processes. And it like allows like a link, like an uplink, you know, like those, the hair things the Avatar had in the movie Avatar, where they would lock it into that. That's kind of what the handshake thing does. And I shit you not, he put this grip on me and he looked at me, and in my head, he said, join us. I am not kidding you. I heard him in my head, folks, say, join us. And so I didn't know what those, I thought it was just a customary thing, or I knew they had magical powers, you know, magical hand signs and all that stuff. But it wasn't until that moment that I realized, and that's probably one of their bigger secrets too, is that it creates this bioelectrical chemical bond where it allows them to communicate with you. Folks, I have no reason to make that up, but I know, I tell you to be skeptical. I don't expect you to believe anything because I say it, but I'm telling you, folks, 100%, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that happened to me. Same as I saw Tom DeLay. Tom DeLay's a fucking reptilian. I never really believed in the reptilian thing, but I saw that motherfucker. He has little black eyes. He's not human. I'm not going to say, go as far as say he's a reptile, maybe, but he ain't human. You know, shit like that, you know, that you can sit behind a computer all day long and read stuff and research, but man, until you get out there and experience stuff like that, it's insane. It's crazy. It's like the thing with Alex Jones too, you know, 2006, back when I was still a fan of him. So they're waiting to get a drink. I look over, this guy's gnawing his teeth and bugging his eyes out. Tripped me out. I could not get over that. I was like, why was he looking at me like that? You know, I love Alex. He's great, blah, blah, blah. That was long before I found out about the CMP stuff, long before I ever exposed him for what he is. But it made me wonder, you know, is he some kind of demon? Does he have some kind of ability to see the future? Did he see me there and know that, 2 or 3 years in the future, I was going to be a big threat to him, even though at that time I was a fan? It was bizarre, dude. Another one of those weird, bizarre things that happens like that. I mean, it's funny how some of the most bizarre things I've had happen to me have happened to me as a result of getting into this information. That's one of the things I think a lot of people get scared of is they get, they get involved in researching this stuff. And they think it's all shits and kicks and giggles. And they think it's all, weekend warrior hobby type shit. And I probably thought, in fact, I know I thought it was that. At some point, I know that we all probably did, but it's not until, not until you've had Troy in West Virginia call your parents' house at 2 a.m. and scream about FEMA camps. Do you know this stuff's real and there's whack nuts out there? But no, I mean, when state troopers visit your residence the day after you've moved out or somewhere you lived for years and years and years, looking for you, and then when you call the state troopers to find out what's going on, they don't have any idea what's going on. There's no record of that happening. No reason why they would be there. Looks and smells like Blackwater. I mean, I've had experiences in all this, folks. Talking to people, like you're talking about here, going up and talking to people. If you have any doubts that any of this stuff is real, then get out there and talk to people about it and just see what people know. I think that's a good way to really find out that this stuff is real, and it is much bigger than you probably think it is at the current moment. Anyway, great email there. Thanks so much for sending that one in. Here's I got a couple here from George tonight. George says, "Hey, dude, there's a reason I found your show. Honestly, I never would have found you had I not heard you on Lee Rogers' show once. Then for a while, I thought you were Mike Chambers, although now looking back, you sound nothing like him." That's pretty funny. You were talking today or last night about how you have this built-in bullshit detector. And man, I got the same thing. I had it forever. My parents used to use me as a child, not only for this, but for free slave labor. When we went to a new church, my dad was a minister, and sometimes you get voted out and have to find another church. And he used me to find out right off the bat who the bad people were. I was never fucking wrong, dude. Evil is a scent. That's why it always smells like shit everywhere I go. I can smell it 1,000 fucking miles away. And it's not even evil so much as it is people trying to deceive you with their false intentions. People fear my perception of their intentions. They run from me. Little old me. Fucking cowards. It's 99% of the human race, so there's your 9/11s. Haha. I must have known you in another life, dude. We think too much alike. I came this close to moving to Dallas before coming to Tampa, but I won't question synchronicity. After all, it was one of the Police's better albums. By the way, I got that got released in 1983. 8 + 3 = 11. Also, the year my alma mater won the NCAA title, the Wolfpack of NC State. Wolf is nothing but flow backwards. A water reference to a coming flood. Damn, I got off track, didn't I? Take care, George in Tampa. It's hot as a bitch, but I dig having geckos running around everywhere. Reminds me of life, real life. We got geckos running around here, too. So, yeah, thanks, George. I think George has got another one. Here's, well, this one's pretty good. George says, man, my mind is always flipping. And this weed ain't even that good. God damn. Oh, man. Is everybody in our audience just drunk and high all the time? That's kind of the consensus that I get. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm thinking when you're born, you come out of a hole because some dude put his thing in a hole. And then if you're a dude, you spend much of your life trying to get back in a hole. Or if you're a woman trying to get someone into your hole. And then when you fucking die, they put your ass in a goddamn hole. Seems to me that life is just a bunch of fucking holes. Maybe Imus was right, but he left the L out. I don't know what that means. Yeah, fucking holes everywhere. I agree with you there. Everywhere, everything. It's a hole. People falling in the K-hole, and people, women want to put their tongue in another woman's hole, and men want to put their penis in a man's hole, and it's holes and holes this and hole that, and god damn. Yeah. Makes you kind of want to crawl in a hole, doesn't it? So thanks, George. Here's one from John. Josh, I was wondering if you have thought about putting together an affiliate store. Associates.amazon.com are generating funds that way. People may not be ready to donate to your program, but they can always buy through your affiliate link, giving you up to 8% commission. You can add a store or widget to your site and recommend books with affiliate tracking ID. Just a suggestion, John. Okay. Well, I'll look into that, John. Thanks so much for that. Might be something to do. I think Oracle does that. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Good idea. Here's one from Dave. Josh, you mentioned the Dead Sea Scrolls on Tuesday night's broadcast. Have you looked into John Marco Allegro's work with the Dead Sea Scrolls? Yes, I'm quite aware of all that stuff, all that information. I've played a lot of that stuff here. The Sacred Mushroom, the Cross might make for an interesting read on your show. I think those guys do good enough job explaining that. It's not really something I feel the need to get into, but I am aware of the research, and I have, read that book and looked into all that stuff. So yeah. That looks like that's all the emails we got tonight, but we'd love to have more from you tonight or any part of the broadcast. Global Reality Show at gmail.com. That's Global Reality Show at gmail.com. So if you want to send in any emails for me to get into and discuss tonight, that is where I would love to have them. So, holes. And if you go to jail, you get cornholed. And the holes just never end. And if you go in debt to the banksters, what do they say? You're in the hole. Fuck. So you came out of a hole. You're trying your goddamnedest to get back in a hole. So once you get in a hole, a woman, you can go in the hole from, credit to buy her stuff, and then work your whole life to pay it off until they put you back in a hole. Wow. That's good stuff. What a life. What a life we're so lucky to have here. And then, these guys want to get good jobs so that they can go play, holes of golf. So even in downtime, even in our recreation time, what do we do? We're going after holes. What'd you do all week? Well, I went golfing and had sex with my male workout partner all week. Yes, that's what I did. I work on Wall Street as well. How'd you guess? Christ. Oh, there's lots of technology news. Lots of the Terminator and is coming, and Skynet is here type news. I mean, you guys realize we're getting close to this now, right? It's not the far-flung future anymore. The future is now here. You didn't get that memo. Let me send it to you again. All right, goodness, lots of this stuff tonight. Researchers at the Tel Aviv University in Israel have successfully wired a functional computer chip to a rat's brain. Matty Mintz and his colleagues have built an artificial cerebellum that can restore some motor functions in rats with brain damage. The cerebellum is an area of the brain responsible for learning and coordinating motor activity. It receives sensory input from the spinal cord. It's proof of concept that we can record information from the brain, analyze it in a way similar to the biological network, and return it to the brain. That's very similar to what we were talking about last night with those weird images. Unlike cochlear implants and prosthetic limbs, which can only communicate with the nervous system in one direction, the artificial cerebellum can receive sensory information from the body, interpret it, and respond with a signal to a different region of the brain. The artificial cerebellum allowed the scientists to condition a brain-damaged rat to blink whenever it heard a tone. Eye blink conditioning is a type of Pavlovian conditioning that involves pairing an auditory or visual stimulus with an eye blink eliciting stimulus, such as a small puff of air to the eye. After repeatedly pairing an auditory or visual stimulus with an eye blink eliciting stimulus, the animal eventually learns associate. There's supposed to be a to there. Learns to associate every goddamn time. I'm convinced retards write the news. Just absolute. I'm not trying to be mean to. Retards write the news. Matt Damon.
Suck Satan's cock.
Eye blink conditioning is a type of Pavlovian conditioning, blah, blah, blah. Learn to associate the two stimuli will blink. It just drives me batshit crazy. Yay! Rat with artificial cerebellums. Coming soon to you. Brought to you by Sony. Yeah. Yeah, Caesar 3. Get everybody with the implants of the massive computer system that's AI can, truly run and control everybody. Here's another one of those type of stories as well from The Wire. Inevitable robot-dominated future creeping ever closer. Okay, so we have not reached the singularity quite yet, but this is the week that researchers announced that they found the path that will let them watch the thoughts of a comatose patient or play dreams on YouTube. A separate group of researchers have found a way to build transistors that manipulate protons, breaking through the barriers that prevented electrical devices from communicating directly with human cells in their language. First, brain pictures. Researchers at the University of California used magnetic resonance imaging to watch the visual stimuli that studies subjects' experience as they watched movie trailers. Though the decision to subject innocent victims to the Steve Martin remake of the Pink Panther seems like one that will result in sanctions, if not crime. So this is, again, that's mentioning that other story that we talked about last night. It's very interesting. This must be a huge, that thing that we discussed last night, that must be a huge thing because this is 3 different seemingly unrelated articles that have referenced that now. So this must be a game changer in a much bigger way than they're, really letting on because think about it. If you can implant something in someone that basically gives you, cameras inside of their eyes to see whatever they see, that would be a, oh man. It's tough to even say, wow. May very well be moving that direction. Maybe that's what they want. It's not good enough to just track and trace us and everything we do on the internet and wiretap us and everything else. No, they want us to take the implant, take the cybernetic interface, so then we're jacked into the system. And then everything you see and everything every person on the planet sees goes in real time into the massive AI supercomputer system. It's just, and this whole story basically revolves around that same story again, repackaged. Basically, just have the same info in it. That's interesting. So they basically called that 3 different types of stories and package it in 3 different ways. Now that must be that's a pretty good sign. They're wanting to draw attention to this without drawing attention to it. Here's another one. Army tracking plan, drones that never forget a face. Yeah, forget heat-sinking missiles. Here's a drone that once it sees you once, that's all it needs. It can track you with no problem after that. Perhaps the idea of spy drones already makes you nervous. Maybe you're uncomfortable with the notion of an unblinking robotic eye in the sky that can watch your every move. If so, you may want to click away now because if the Army has its way, drones won't just be able to look at what you do. They'll be able to recognize your face and track you. based on how you look. If the military machines assemble enough information, they might just be able to peer into your heart. The Pentagon has tried all sorts of tricks to keep tabs on its foes as they move around. Tiny transmitters, lingering scents, even human thermal fingerprints. The military calls the effort tagging, tracking, and locating, or TTL. And as the strategy in places like Afghanistan has shifted from rebuilding societies to taking out individual insurgents, TTL has become increasingly central to the American effort. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been devoted to it. The current technologies have their limits, however. Transmitters can be discovered and discarded, since eventually waft away, and even the tag can get lost in a crowd. But then there are some things that can't be so easily discarded, like the shape of your face or the feelings you keep inside. That's why the Army just handed out a half a dozen contracts to firms to find faces from above, track targets, and even spot adversarial intent. So this is real-time scanning from the sky of faces. You know, generally they have to have some evidence that a crime's been committed, not here. If they deem that you have adversarial intent, that's all they need to act on. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, haven't we all been deemed military insurgents for the past, what, 3 or 4 years now? If it works out, we'll have the ability to track people persistently across wide areas, says Tim Faltemeyer, the lead biometrics researcher at Progeny Systems Corporation, which recently won one of the Army contracts. A guy can go under a bridge or inside a house, but when he comes out, we'll know it was the same guy that went in. Progeny just started work on their drone-mounted long-range non-cooperative biometric tagging, tracking, and location system. God damn, that's a hell of a name. The company is one of several firms that has developed algorithms for the military that use two-dimensional images to construct a 3D model of a face. It's not an easy trick to pull off, even with the proper lighting and even with a willing subject. Building a model of someone on the run is harder. Constructing a model using the bobbing, weaving, flying, relatively low-resolution cameras on small unmanned aerial vehicles is tougher still. But it could be of enormous military value. The last 10 years, the majority of warfare has been fought with unmanned drones. I think we had drones all over the place on 9/11. I think you'd be a fool to think there wasn't drones all over the place. Whatever flew into the Pentagon, a guided missile, I think it was a drone that was, you know, chock full of explosives, painted like an American Airlines plane, but that's just me. But, I mean, I've examined the pictures and video from 9/11 so many times. Man, you see little black, like bird-looking things zipping out. Little stealth-looking things zipping in and out from around the plane. There's all kinds of crazy technology used on that day, man. I've wondered for a while if that wasn't going to be like the next way that they, you know, do a 9/11 type thing, is to have drones, you know, flying into targets, because, you know, then it's untrackable. Then if they use some sort of, but just using it as a cover story, you know. And then I saw this. Could model airplanes become a terrorist weapon? And they're saying they busted some guy who wanted to attack the Pentagon and the Capitol with remote control model airplanes. And I thought, you know what? That's perfect. That's perfect, because then they can just tell us, oh, it was Iran or Al Qaeda or whoever. They flew this, you know, model airplane into the White House, chock full of explosives, and, you know, blew this up or whatever have you. But that's what this is. It's like building a backstory. But what they really might have done is, you know, flown one of our drones into the White House or something like that. This is a perfect cover story for them to use our unmanned military drones to attack civilian and, you know, high-value targets in the United States and other places, to blame on terrorists and get us behind, you know, more Iran war and more crackdown and more the rest of this stuff. Model airplanes are suddenly on the public's radar as potential terrorist weapons. A 26-year-old man from a Boston suburb was arrested Wednesday and accused of plotting to attack the Pentagon and the U.S. Capitol with remote-controlled model airplanes packed with explosives. They're not balsa wood and rubber band toys. Investigators are talking about. The FBI said Rezwan Federas hoped to use military jet replicas 5 to 7.5 feet long, guided by GPS satellite devices and capable of speeds of over 100 miles an hour. Federal officials have long been aware of the possibility someone might try to use such planes as a weapon, but there are no restrictions on their purchase. Federas is said to have bought his over the internet. Counterterrorism experts and model craft hobbyists said it would be nearly impossible to inflict large-scale damage of the sort Federas allegedly envisioned using model planes. Well, that tells you the whole thing's bullshit then. If it's not possible to do it, and they're saying he was trying to do it, and that tells you, like I said last night, the whole thing's been cooked up. Guarantee it's going to come out he has Down syndrome, or he's half-tarded, or something got dropped on his head as a kid. It always happens over and over again. In almost every case, it's somebody who's mentally handicapped. I'm going to fly a plane to building and blow up Washington, D.C. What is he, a retard? It's not even possible to do that. We don't care. Click Homeland Security. Take him away. He's with Al-Qaeda. You know, it doesn't matter to Homeland Security. You think it makes a fuck one to those meatheads who are just waiting to crack some skulls like they did in Iraq and Afghanistan? Now they come home and we'll crack some skulls over here too. You don't like America, I'll crack your head like a goddamn sand coon. You got me, son? Don't even look at me, boy. I killed a piece of shit Hodges smaller than you. I shit Hodges. Man, it doesn't make a fuck one of them. He was going to blow up the Pentagon with his airplane. Take him away. Take him to Gitmo. I'm going to shit in his mouth. You know, it's not even possible, right? It's physically impossible for him to do it. Don't matter. Don't matter. It's America. It's America. You don't even say you're going to attack America, even if you playing around. If you do, we take you to Gitmo. I love that. Yeah. Counterterrorism experts and model aircraft hobbyists said it would be nearly impossible to inflict large-scale damage of the sort Federas allegedly envisioned using model planes. Doesn't matter. He's a terrorist. We stopped a terrorist attack. You're safe. Homeland Security's working. Give us more money. Hail Obama, the new Fuhrer. I mean, this is just fucking ridiculous. Just never ends, does it? Speaking of never ending, another earthquake hit Fukushima. Was it like 3 or 4 now more since all this stuff happened? I mean, is anybody me starting to get the sneaking suspicion that they may be directing earthquakes and different things at this Fukushima area like they want it to just go completely tits up meltdown? Not that it already hasn't, but even more, like all the way. Oh, man, I feel sorry for the people of Japan. Japan always looked like a beautiful place. Too bad I'll never be able to go there now. That motherfucker's going to sink off into the Pacific soon enough. Pohaba. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like the Obama administration's back to doing their what's important right now, which is continuing to mess with anything and everything that has to do with American jobs. I love it, man. The economy's in a shitter, and what are they doing? They're trying to run off American jobs, not create them. That's not their model. I mean, look at we've discussed what they've done with Gibson guitars. Got another story about that tonight. They're cracking down on Gibson guitars again, and now they're going after an alleged prescription drug ring going on at a Boeing plant in Pennsylvania. I got to tell you, you guys that know me and know where I come from on this information, I got into this stuff because of Kennedy, researching the Kennedy assassination. That was the thing that got me into this. And I have to tell you, as soon as I saw this article, and just continue to think about, him messing with American jobs and all this stuff, all I could just see was back into the left, back into the left. Because if the Justice Department is now going after the military-industrial complex airplane makers, Boeing, one of the biggest of the millplex for the New World Order, my God. And they're going to start going after their employees for, pain pills. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I mean, he's lining himself up to get Kennedy, if you ask me. And very well could have been that I was right from very jump when this guy got elected in 2008 when I said Barack Obama himself, he is a psyop. His whole person, he's one of the most massive psychological operations ever unleashed on the people of the United States, the people of the world, for that matter. He's a gigantic psyop. That's where nothing about the guy adds up. The shady burst, surrounding him is, people thinking he's Akhenaten. Him furthering the racial divide. I mean, hell, I saw a clip of Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman said that Obama is the cause of the racism. Is that, racism's gotten worse with Obama because they've made it a black and white issue instead of a right and wrong issue. And that's exactly what they want. None of this has happened by accident. They've gotten exactly the type of thing they want to do. They're trying to destabilize us so they can take over and assume total control. But I think that's been the setup from the get-go. I think they've probably been planning to run an op with Obama from the jump street to initiate the new civil war. Yeah, I think you'll probably see it before it's over with. Let's see what else we have. Going to be getting into tablet number 1 tonight from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Here's another one on the technology front. Boy, it just doesn't end on this stuff either. Mind-reading car could drive you around the bend. Nissan collaborates with Swiss scientists to develop interface between man and machine, saying it will help road safety. One of the largest motor manufacturers is working with scientists based in Switzerland to design a car that can read its driver's mind and predict his or her next move. The collaboration between Nissan and École Polytechnique is intended to balance the necessities of road safety with demands for personal transport. Scientists at the EPFL have already developed brain-machine interface systems that will allow wheelchair users to maneuver their chairs by thought transference. Their next step will be finding a way to incorporate that technology into ways that motorists interact with their cars. If the endeavor proves successful, the vehicles of the future may be able to prepare themselves for a left or right turn, choosing the correct speed and positioning by gauging that their drivers are thinking about making such a turn. However, although BMI technology is well established, the levels of human concentration needed to make it work are extremely high. So the research team is working on systems that will use statistical analysis to predict a driver's next move and to evaluate a driver's cognitive state relevant to the driving environment. By measuring brain activity, monitoring patterns of eye movement, and scanning the environment around the car, the team thinks that the car will be able to predict what a driver is planning to do and will help him or her complete the maneuver safely. Lucien Gregori, who joined Nissan's Mobility Research Center after graduating in computer science and artificial intelligence from Kobe University in Japan, said he believed the joint project could benefit both scientists and motors. That's a part of everything. This is the merging with technology, folks. Computers and internet and smartphones and all this stuff. This was just version 1.0 of this. To get us to not want to be without any of this technology at any time. The next level of that is merging with it so that, it's for quality of life and all this stuff, the merging of biological with machines. We're going to see it in our lifetime. Well, they're just ramping this stuff up everywhere. DC test disaster planning and citywide drill. I know Manhydra, our web guru, lives there. Hurricane Zoe, a Category 2 storm, damaged a large number of district homes and caused major roads to flood and left more than 87,000 DC residents without power. That fabricated scenario was the setting for a full-scale exercise performed by DC's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency Wednesday, allowing a wide swath of district agencies to practice their response to a massive citywide emergency. On the grounds of RFK Stadium, members of the Metropolitan Police Department, DC Fire, EMS of the DC Department of Human Services were on hand to perform various drills in order to coordinate and execute emergency operations. There's a lot of stuff happening around DC. DC and New York, man. I mean, it's looking like we're going to see shit going down that area again. I mentioned this house last night on the broadcast. This house by Naomi Campbell. You guys hear me talk about that last night? Naomi Campbell's rich. I was wondering what the hang up with that chick was. It was like, guys, I mean, you know, she's pretty hot, but I mean, there's just, why are all these Russian billionaires and all these, you know, just falling all over themselves to buy this chick shit and houses shaped like the Eye of Horus and stuff like that. And I was reading this further in this article, and it's interesting that they built this house on the island of Cleopatra in Turkey, and that the sands on that island are believed to have been brought there from Egypt, because there's no other sands in any of the beaches around there, because Cleopatra wouldn't set foot on any land that wasn't Egypt. And I started thinking, Naomi Campbell very well may be the reincarnation of Cleopatra. That's why they built that there. You know, it's been speculated that that's one of the elite secrets, is that with keeping track of the bloodlines and with keeping track of genealogical information like the Mormon church does, that they're actually able to tell who's going to reincarnate in what body and when. And it was an interesting thing. I was talking earlier about the Guthrie Masonic Lodge experience that I had, and as the guy was taking us around on the tour, he was describing all these rooms and how the whole place, the whole thing was designed by a woman. Now, nobody else there really thought that was odd but me. And I said, wait, you're telling me that a woman designed all the architecture, all the inside of this place, everything front to back? He's like, yeah. And I didn't say anything, but I was like, well, that's almost impossible, because women are not allowed to have access to the sacred geometry and to the Masonic secrets and the knowledge they have. Women are not allowed to have that knowledge. But this woman who built that, the Masonic temple in Guthrie, Oklahoma, would had to have had access to that knowledge. Well, how? Well, by what I believe is that they knew that she was a reincarnation of some Mason who had incarnated in this body as a female in this incarnation. And I was kind of hinting at that, and that's when he was like, yeah, we have the blueprints. They're in the basement. And sure enough, there they were, and they were all designed by this woman. Interesting stuff. Wisconsin, if you're in Wisconsin, I know we have a lot of listeners in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, your state, the state of Wisconsin, has now deemed it illegal. Well, they haven't deemed it illegal, but they say that their terminology is you have no right. How about that? It's even worse, isn't it? No, it's not illegal. You have no right. If you live in the state of Wisconsin now says that you have no right to produce your own food with the intent to eat it. I shit you not. Here's what it says. Number one, no plaintiffs do not have a fundamental right to own or use a dairy cow or dairy herd. Number two, they do not have a fundamental right to consume the milk from their own cow. Plaintiffs do not have a fundamental right to board their cow at the farm of a farmer. Plaintiffs do not have a fundamental right to produce and consume foods of their choice. In other words, put down that carrot and back up slowly. Anything you eat or grow can and will be held against you in a court of law. You have now entered the police state of 1984. Shut the fuck up. So, yeah. Well, y'all got to get up there in the state of Wisconsin, don't you? That's fucked. But you can eat cheese, right? Can you make your own cheese and eat your own cheese in Wisconsin? Because if you can, I'd say burn the motherfucker down to the ground. What's it good for? Packers suck. Oh, by the way, Packers instituted a bunch of new, I mean, they're making you go through TSA-style checkpoints to go to Lambeau now. I mean, if you can't make your own cheese and eat your own cheese in Wisconsin, set the motherfucker on fire, please. Move to Canada, eh? All right, let's take a break, come back, and we will get into we'll see if we have any more emails, and we'll get into the Emerald Tablet of Thoth for you here tonight on the show. I got some new Demigod stuff I'm going to play for you guys tonight. Well, a couple of songs from our most recent recording session. One of them is a newer song, and the other one's an older song, but we've done new versions of these. And these are sort of these aren't by any way done. We're not really done with these. These are their first mixes, but I want to play some of this stuff for you here tonight. So we'll take a break, come back. This is the Global Reality, folks. Stay with us. All right, back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here tonight for another late night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. My website where this broadcast originates from, www.theglobalreality.com. And we've got our fundraising week to raise the goal for the money to pay the bills for the month. Still on Saturday, we were $500 away from meeting our goal. Please make a donation today at theglobalreality.com, the chip-in banner there. And if you want to support us that way, if you want to support us the other way, help us reach our other goal, you can do that. Either one, but we need to reach the $500 goal by Saturday, so please help us do that. And again, if anybody out there has ideas for advertisers or products that make a good match for the network, or want to hook any of that up, please do so, or shoot me an email, globalrealityshow@gmail.com, and I'll give you some details. By the way, I mentioned I was going to play some demigod tracks. I played one, but I had to abort the other one. Something, I apologize for that one being such a low quality. Something happened on the encode of the copy that I pulled down to play, and it sounded like, I don't know, like it was low resolution or something. So I apologize for that. And I had just had somebody send an email and asked if I would play, because they heard we recorded, so want me to play some new tracks, and I'll get those fixed and get them up in the right quality and play this. We're still kind of working on them and doing some different mixes and stuff. We got the great, but some of the ones I was going to play tonight were pretty close. So, but I'll get that fixed and play those for you guys later on, since you're itching to hear them out there. So, all right, we're going to get into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth tonight. Tablet number 1. We read the preface last night. If you didn't go back and if you didn't hear that, go back and listen to that. So here we go. Tablet number 1, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I, Thoth, the Atlantean master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king magician, living from a generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after these records of the mighty wisdom of the great Atlantis. In the great city of Kior, on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation. Not as the little men of the present age did, the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from aeon to aeon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where river of life flows eternally onward. 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into light. As many times as I have ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power has been renewed. Now for a time I descend, and the men of Chem is alchemy in ancient Egypt, and the men of Chem shall know me no more. But in a time yet unborn I will rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O men of alchemy, if ye have falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon you. Remember and heed my words, for surely I will return again and require of thee that which you guard. I, even from beyond time and from beyond death, I will return, rewarding or punishing ye as you have requited your trust. You sound familiar here? Jesus is coming back. He's going to come back. And if you ain't got your shit together, he's going to kill you. Sound familiar? Alien gods going around setting themselves up, telling everybody that they're, the all-powerful, getting them to worship them. Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people now around me. It means humans, by little people. Knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity, knowledge that belonged to earth's youth. Wise were we with the wisdom of the children of light who dwelt among us. Strong were we with the power drawn from the eternal fire. In all of these, greatest among the children of men was my father, Thought me, keeper of the great temple, link between the children of light who dwelt within the temple and the races of men who inhabited the 10 islands. Mouthpiece after the three of the dweller of Unal, speaking to the kings with a voice that must be obeyed. Grew I there from childhood into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries, until in time there grew within the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. Not desired I, but the attainment of wisdom, until in a great day the command came from the dweller of the temple that I be brought before him. Few there were among the children of men who had looked upon that mighty face and lived. For not as the sons of men are the children of light when they are not incarnate in a physical body. So when they're not in a physical body, they're just light beings. Sounds like Palladians. By the way, we're referencing that movie Knowing a couple of times in the broadcast. That's what comes down and is taking the kids to see life on another planet, Palladians. When they start showing up, it's really not good news for your planet. I've heard people saying they've been seeing Palladians, in their dreams of like, that's not good news. These guys only show up when a planet's about to be completely fucking destroyed. Chosen was I from the sons of men, taught by the dwellers, so that his purposes might be fulfilled. Purposes yet unborn in the womb of time. Long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever and yet ever more wisdom, until I too approached the light emitted from the great fire. Taught me, he did, the path to Amente, the underworld where the great king sits upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of life and the lords of death, receiving as my gift the key of life. Free was I from the halls of Amenti, bound not by death to the circle of life. Far to the stars I journeyed until space and time became as naught. So he's gaining immortality here. Transcending the death of the physical body. That's the real secret of the secret societies, Freemasonry and the rest of it. Is how to gain immortality by being conscious of of how you reincarnate through the learning of these teachings. That's really what it's all about. And the Anunnaki talked about how they had they did not give man the gift of long life, but they could. And we have that in us today. It's all you have to do is turn on a chromosome. And boom, you've got immortality. Interesting, there was an article I didn't cover here tonight, synchronistically, yet again. It's just been synchronicity after synchronicity the past couple of weeks with everything. Article from the Daily Mail says, Who Wants to Live Forever? Computer models predict that if humans became immortal, it might actually be bad news. A lot of this has been in the news lately, and it seems that they're starting to figure this out. I think they're starting to figure out this key to immortality thing that the ancients knew. Because again, as I've stated many times, we now have a context for what these, the advanced technologies that these ancient texts were talking about. 50 years ago, we didn't. 100 years ago, we didn't. Then, having drunk deep into the cup of wisdom, I looked into the hearts of men, and there I found greater mysteries, and was glad. For only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled and the flame within be quenched. I'm going to get a tattoo of that. Yeah, that's pretty much my credo right there. Wow. For only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled and the flame within be quenched. Down through the ages I lived, seeing those around me taste of the cup of death and return again in the light of life. Gradually from the kingdoms of Atlantis passed waves of consciousness that had been one with me, only to be replaced by a spawn of a lower star. That's heavy. That's heavy. Let me read. Oh, man. Gradually from the kingdom of Atlantis passed waves of consciousness that had that had been one with me, only to be replaced by the spawn of a lower star. This is an interesting statement. That's like, one collective consciousness and everyone in a community or a planet or a world or whatever having the same consciousness, and then that going away and then being replaced with something of much lower quality. That's incredible. In obedience to the law, the word of the master grew into flower. Downward into the darkness turned the thoughts of the Atlanteans, until at last, in this wrath arose from his great Agwanti, the dweller. This word has no English equivalent. It means a state of detachment. Speaking the word, calling the power. Deep in the earth's heart, the sons of Amenti heard and are hearing and directing the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally, changing and shifting using the logos until that great fire changed its direction. Now, what are they talking about here? Are they talking, deep in the heart of the earth? They're talking about the changing the core, the direction of the core, the way the core of the earth spins. That's interesting. Over the world then broke the great waters, drowning and sinking, changing earth's balance until only the temple of light was left. Standing on the great mountain of Endal, still rising out of the water, some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called to me then the master, saying, "Gather ye my people, take them by the arts ye have learned of far across the waters, until you reach the land of the hairy barbarians, dwelling in caves of the desert. Follow there the plan that you know of." I gathered my people and entered the great ship of the master. Upward we rose into the morning. Dark beneath us lay the temple. Suddenly over it rose the waters. Vanished from earth until the time appointed was the great temple. Fast we fled toward the sun of the morning, until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging, they came with cudgels and spears, lifted in anger, seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Well, you got to watch that movie, 10,000 BC. You hadn't seen that. It ties right in with that. Pretty interesting. I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it, but then I raised my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them in their tracks as fragments of the stone of the mountain. I love this. Because, what do you cleanse have to say about this now? Here's more translations from ancient texts. These not done by Zechariah Sitchin. And here we have the same stuff verbatim that's in Sumerian text. Break free of your religious priest class programming and understand that this stuff is what they don't want you to know about. If you understand this stuff, then religion has no place. So that's why there's so many disinfo clowns and haters and all that stuff out there. I then raised my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them still in their tracks as fragments of stone of the mountain. Then I spoke to them in words calm and peaceful, telling them of the might of Atlantis, saying we were children of the sun and its messengers. I cowed them by my display of magic science, until at my feet they groveled and I released them. Long dwelt we in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until obeying the commands of the master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, I sent from me the sons of Atlantis, sent them in many directions, that from the womb of time wisdom they might rise again in her children. For a long time I dwelt in the land of Chem, doing great works by the wisdom within me. Upward I grew into the light of knowledge. The children of Chem were watered by the rains of my wisdom. Blasted I then a path to Amenti, so that I might retain my powers, living from age to age as a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom, preserving the records. Great grew the sons of Kim, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upwards in soul force. Growing slowly upwards in soul force. That's interesting. As if their souls and their energy gets higher. You know, the vibration higher, the more that they conquer, and it gets higher and higher. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep into the halls of the earth. Before the lands of the powers, face to face once again with the Dweller. That's funny. We have one of the new demigod songs we have called Earth Dweller. And we always call it the Dweller for short. And I've seen that twice here, the Dweller. Raised I high over the entrance, a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare enter it, and few pass the portal to dark Amenti. I raised over the passage a mighty pyramid. Using the power that overcomes Earth's force, gravity, deep and yet deeper, I placed a force house or a chamber, and I carved from it a circular passage reaching almost to the great summit. In the apex, I set the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway of Amenti. Other chambers I built and left vacant to all, seeming yet hidden within them are the keys to Amenti. Oh, really? Remember what I talked about last week? I got to find that video again in just a second here. Great Pyramid, a strange sacred door at the top of the half in the Queen's Chamber. I'm going to drop this in the chat room. You get time, watch this. Watch this video. I believe that what you see in that green picture there in that still video, when you watch it, that's exactly what Toth's talking about here. And if you watch that video, we'll show you exactly what he just mentioned there, which is a map on keys of the way to enter Amenti. Well, that's it right there. There's videographic evidence of it. They sent a camera in 1992, and nobody knew what the fuck it was. But that's what it was. Unbelievable stuff. It's right in front of us, and we're not being allowed to see it. That's how you enter Amenti. It's all built into the pyramids. They're gonna destroy those motherfuckers before it's over with. They're not going to let us have that information. I guarantee you the elite are going to destroy the Great Pyramids. They've already hinted about it. Remember Transformers 2? They're not going to let us have the knowledge in there, folks. We've got to get our hands on this stuff before it's too late. Other chambers I built and left vacant to all, seeming yet hidden within them, are the keys to Amenti. That's it right there. He who in courage would dare the dark realms, let him be purified first by long fasting. Lie in the sarcophagus of stone in my chamber. Then I will reveal to him the great mysteries. Soon he shall follow me to where I shall meet him. Even in the darkness of earth, I shall meet him. I, Toth, Lord of Wisdom, meet him and hold him and dwell with him always. Builded I the great pyramid, patterned after the pyramid of Earth's force, burning eternally so that it too might remain through the ages. In it I builded my knowledge of magic science, so that I might be here when again I return from Amenti. Yes, while I sleep in the halls of Amenti, my soul will incarnate, roaming free, and will dwell among me in men in this form or another, Hermes thrice born. Emissary on earth, I am of the Dweller, fulfilling his commands so many might be lifted. Now I return to the halls of Amenti, leaving behind me some of my wisdom. Preserve ye and keep ye the command of the Dweller. Lift ever upwards your eyes toward the light. Surely in time ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the Master. Surely by right yet are one with the All. Now I depart from you, Know my commandments, keep them and be them, and I will be with you, helping and guiding you into the light. Now before me opens the portal. I go down into the darkness of night. So that's the end of tablet 1 there. Moving on to tablet 2. Tablet number 2 of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth here. Deep in Earth's heart lie the halls of Amenti. Far neath the islands of sunken Atlantis, halls of the dead and halls of the living, bathed in fire of the infinite all. Far in a past time lost in the space-time, the children of light looked down on the world, seeing the children of men in their bondage, bound by the force that came from beyond. Knew they that only by freedom from bondage could man ever rise from the earth to the sun. Down they descended and created bodies, taking the semblance of men as their own, the masters of everything said after their forming. We are they who were formed from the space dust, partaking of life from the infinite all, living in the world as children of men, like and yet unlike the children of men. Then for a dwelling place, far neath the earth's crust, blasted great spaces by their power, spaces apart from the children of men, and surrounded them by forces and power, and shielded them from harm, they, the halls of the dead. Built it underground in the earth. Side by side then placed they other spaces, filled them with life and with light from above. They then builded the halls of Amenti, that they might eventually dwell there, living with life to eternity's end. 32 were there of their children, sons of light who had come among men, seeking to be free from the bondage of darkness, those who were bounded by the force from beyond. Deep in the halls of life grew a flower, flaming, expanding, driving backward towards the night. Placed in the center a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, feeling with power all who came near it. Placed they around it thrones, 32, places for each of the children of the night. Placed so that they were bathed in the radiance, filled with the life from the eternal light. There, time after time, they placed their first created bodies, so that they might be filled with the spirit of life. 100 years out of each 1,000 must the life-giving light flame forth on their bodies, quickening, awakening the spirit of life. There in the circle from aeon to aeon sit the great masters, living a life not known among men. There in the halls of life they lie sleeping. Free flows their soul through the bodies of men. Time after time, while their bodies lie sleeping, incarnate they into the bodies of men, teaching and guiding onward and upward, out of the darkness into the light. There in the hall of life, filled with their wisdom, know not to the races of man, living forever neath the cold. Fire of life sit the children of light. Times there are when they awaken, and they come from the depths to the lights to be among men. Infinite they among the finite men find. He who by progress has grown from the darkness, lifted himself from the night into light, free he is made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of light and of light. Guided he then by wisdom and knowledge, passes from men to the master of life. It's almost like a song. It's a rhythmic almost. Guided by wisdom and knowledge, passes from men to the master of life. It's almost got, a rhythmic quality to it. That's interesting. You put this stuff to music, does the frequencies of singing this, open the fucking portal to the halls of Amenti? I don't know. Could be. There he may dwell as one with the masters, free from the bonds of the darkness of light. Seated within the flower of radiance sit 7 lords from the space-times above us, helping and guiding through infinite wisdom the pathway through time of the children of men. Mighty and strange, they veiled with their power, silent, all-knowing, drawing the life force, different yet one with the children of men, and different yet one with the children of light. Custodians and watchers of the force of man's bondage, ready to lose when the light has been reached. First and most mighty sits the veiled presence, Lord of lords, the infinite nine. Over the other from each the lords of the cycles. 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, each with his mission, each with his powers, guiding, directing the destiny of man. There they sit, mighty and potent, free of all time and space. Not of this world they are, yet akin to it. Elder brothers they of the children of men, judging and weighing. They with their wisdom watching of the progress of light among men. There before them I was led by the dweller, watched him blend with one from above. Then from he came forth a voice, saying, Great art thou, Toth, among children of men, free henceforth of the halls of Amenti, master of life among children of men. Taste not of death except as thou wilt. Well, that sounds like Crowley. Taste not of death except as thou will it. Drink thou of life to eternity's end. Henceforth forever is life. Thine is for the taking. Henceforth is death at the call of thy hand. Dwell here or leave here when thou desireth. Free is Amenti to the Son of Man. Take thou up life in what form thou desireth. Child of the light that has grown among men, choose thou thy work, for all must labor. Never be free from the pathway of light. One step thou hast gained on the long pathway upward, infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step thou taketh but heightens the mountain. All of thy progress but lengthens the goal. Approach ye ever the infinite wisdom. Ever before thee recedes the goal. Free are ye made now of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together to bring light to the children of men. Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward through the halls of the deep hidden land. He led me through the halls of Amenti, showing me the mysteries that are known not to man. Through the dark passage, downward he led me into the hall, where sit the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, walled by darkness, yet filled with light. Before me arose a great throne of darkness. Veiled on it sat a figure of the night. Darker than darkness sat the figure, dark with a darkness not of the night. Before it then paused the master, speaking the word that brings about life, saying, O master of darkness, guide of the way from life unto life, before thee I bring a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Call not his flame to the darkness of night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness into the light. Release thou his flame from its bondage. Free, let it flame through the darkness of night. Raised then the hand of the figure. Forth came a flame that grew clear and bright, and rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, and unveiled the hall from the darkness of night. Then grew in the great space before me flame after flame from the veil of the night. Uncounted millions leaped before me, some flaming forth as flowers of fire. Others there were there that shed a dim radiance, flowing but faintly from out of the light. Some there were that faded swiftly, others that grew from a small spark of light, each surrounded by its dim veil of darkness, yet flaming with light that could never be quenched. Coming and going like fireflies in the springtime, filled they the space with light and life. This is a bunch of souls, like the Hall of Souls. Then spoke a voice mighty and solemn, saying, These are lights that are souls among men. Yep, I was right. growing and fading, existing forever, changing yet living through death into life. When they have bloomed into flower, reached the zenith of growth in their life, swiftly then said I send my veil of darkness, shrouding and changing to new forms of life. Steadily upward throughout the ages, growing and expanding into yet another flame, lighting the darkness with yet greater power, quenched yet unquenched by the veil of the night. So grows the soul of man ever upward, quenched yet unquenched by the darkness of night. I, death, come, and yet I remain not, for life eternal exists in the all. Only an obstacle I am in the pathway, quick to be conquered by the infinite light. Awaken, O flame that burns ever inward, flame forth and conquer the veil of night. Then in the midst of the flames and the darkness grew there one that drove forth the night, flaming, expanding even brighter, until at last was nothing but light. Then spoke my guide, the voice of the Master. See your own soul as it grows in the light, free now forever from the Lord of the night. Forward he led me through many great spaces filled with the mysteries of the children of light, mysteries that man may never know, yet of he too is of a son of the light. Backward then he led me into the light of the hall of the light. I knelt then before the great masters, lords of all from the cycles above. Spoke he then with words of great power, saying, Thou hast been made free of the halls of Amenti. Choose thou thy work among the children of men. Then spoke I, O great master, let me be a teacher of men, leading them onward and upward until they too are lights among men, freed from the veil of the night that surrounds them, flaming with light that shall shine among men. Then the voice spoke to me, Go as ye will, so it be decreed. Master are ye of your destiny, free to take or reject it at will. Take ye the power, take ye the wisdom, shine as a light among the children of men. Then upward the dweller led me. I dwelt again among the children of men, teaching and showing some of my wisdom. Son of the light, a fire among them. Now again I tread the path downward, seeking the light in the darkness of night. Hold ye and keep ye, preserve my record. Guide it, it shall be to the children of men. So that's the end of tablet number 2. Good stuff. You can definitely see where this is tying into all the work and the stuff we read about from, William Bramley, Gods of Eden, the Custodians, and the Book of Enki with Thoth and Marduk and Nigajita and that whole deal. It's just amazing how these, texts from different times and places, coincide with one another and really lock in and working together. It's just amazing stuff. But we're going to leave it there for tonight. Love to have emails. You can always send an email to me anytime you want. globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. $500 away from meeting our goal to pay the bills by Saturday. Please help us out. theglobalreality.com. We also got to eat, live, and survive. And, every time we pay the bills, man, we get just enough in to pay the bills, but then not enough for anything else left. So, let's get some support in this week. Help us out. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. And we will see you tomorrow for the broadcast. You guys have a great night, great morning, great day. Take care.